welcome to our Thursday night cooking demo. We're excited to be here tonight. I have a guest speaker here, a guest cook with me, Karen, who you will recognize if you shop with us. I do want to mention a couple things. Early bird days, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Tomorrow and Saturday, 10 to 5, Sunday, 10 to 4. 20% off store-wide. The only things we can't discount are alcohol and electrics. So the rest of it is up for grabs. If you're only getting gift certificates, or if you know exactly what you want, you may want to just email us or call us and we can put your stuff together. We'll take payment over the phone, and then you can come pick it up whenever you want to, but that will diminish the waiting in line. If you are coming to the store, be prepared to wait. Unfortunately, we're still limited as to how many customers we can have in. Please wear a cloth face mask, and it's supposed to be beautiful weather for the next few days, so you should be fine standing outside. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we are asking people to please start your Christmas shopping early. Not just here, but any small business that you're going to be shopping at. It's going to be really hard to have big crowds in the store, so it'd be really helpful. If you're not used to shopping local, if you could just shop local at one store that you're not used to shopping at, it'd be really helpful. And I'm speaking for all of Maine and all of the coast and all of the whole country, in fact. So that would be super helpful. So let's get started. The first thing is the Rotkohl, which is braised red cabbage. And this I started a little earlier. And I sort of forgot about it, so it's cooked on the bottom a little bit. But I'm just going to thicken this. You can follow the recipe. It's really simple, so you don't need to watch that. But you do want to start it about 2 to 3 hours before you want to have dinner, so it's all ready to go. You can even make it a day ahead and just heat it up on the stove or in the microwave as well. But the last step, now that it's been cooking for a while, is I'm just going to add some flour and some water. And I'm just going to add that in. And that's just going to give it a little thickening. And I'm going to just stir that in. And I'm leaving this right on low heat, but that's just going to kind of any juices that are in there, it's just going to thicken them up, so that's going to all cook in there. The next thing is so what we're making tonight is Jaegerschnitzel, which is Hunter Schnitzel.
It has mushrooms and onions in it.
Mushrooms
if you like mushrooms.
Right, and you could make this sauce without the mushrooms, just an onion and garlic brown sauce if you want to, but the mushrooms are awesome. But if you don't like mushrooms, that's fine. So I've already browned the onions and the mushrooms and the garlic a little bit, and I'm going to put some heat under that if I can figure out which burner I'm using. And I've lost my spatula. I'm using the wrong one. So I'm just going to warm this back up, and I'm going to melt some butter in here, and I'm doing a half a batch, but you would normally add 4 tablespoons. This is just 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to melt that right up in here. And meanwhile, Karen is going to be making, in just a second, she's going to show us how to make Spaetzle. And what is Spaetzle?
Spaetzle is probably the German variation of pasta. It uses flour and egg and water. And we use a tool called a Spaetzle press, which allows you to put the dough through the holes into boiling water, and then it only takes a minute or 2. When the Spaetzle comes back up to the surface, it's ready to be taken out and served with the gravy and the schnitzel and the cabbage on the side.
And do you have to have a Spaetzle press to make?
Well, if you're from the north like me, you have to have a Spaetzle press. But my friends in the south, they are able to use a cutting board and a knife, and they, with a fast movement, just scrape long pieces of dough into the water, so they are more irregular, and it gives them a very personal homemade touch.
And that's probably something they learn at their grandmother's knee.
Right, I think they learn it as soon as they start
As soon as they
watching
can,
their mothers or fathers.
as soon as they can say Spaetzle.
Yeah.
Back to the sauce just briefly. I'm gonna now also add some flour in here, and that's going to thicken it. So I'm gonna make a roux, and if you remember from any of the white sauces that we've made, the roux is flour and butter. You can use oil if you don't eat butter, and that's thickening beautifully, and we just let that saute just for a moment. And then I'm going to add some beef broth. And this is going to thicken right up nicely. I'm also adding salt, a little bit of sugar, some dried thyme, and some black pepper. Stir that in. And I'm going to leave this on a medium heat, but I'm going to keep a really good eye on it while Karen is making Spaetzle, because I want it to thicken up, but I don't want it to burn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And one of the typical German spices for this would be a little bit of mustard and some lemon juice or white wine.
Like dry mustard or mustard?
No, mustard.
Really?
Yeah, and it adds a nice edge to it.
Nice. And a dry white wine or red?
Dry white or lemon juice.
Or lemon juice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm going to try and make Spaetzle. I've had a couple of test runs at home. And we're going to use a cup of flour, like this. And although Luisa says to mix the eggs with the water, I'm going to just put the eggs in. Oops, without.
Extra protein.
Without that, exactly. Thank you.
The shells add a nice little crunch to
Yes,
it, though.
thank you very much. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of water right away. And then a little bit more afterwards when I see what the consistency is. So try to bring that together. Just stirring. My friend in southern Germany said this is where she uses a wooden spoon with a hole in it because she would like to have a little air capture in the dough. The German term is you want to stir it until it, I don't know whether you can translate it, so I'm going to say it in German. Bis es Blasen schlägt.
Everybody knows what that means.
Do you?
No.
All right.
I confess that I don't.
So, and I think the trickiest part is probably to, I've forgotten to add my salt, so here we go, to get the consistency right. So if it's too thick, it's going to be hard to get it through the Spaetzle press. And if it's too thin, it's going to run out on its own and they get a little soggy, and that's not really what you want. So, this is where you want to kind of get a little bit in there.
Would you use a whisk or definitely a wooden spoon?
I would definitely use a wooden spoon, and also it's easier to clean up afterwards.
That's true.
So, what do you think?
I think that looks good. So your friend did not have nutmeg in hers.
She didn't have that in hers, but
Did
we're
you-
going
did
to
you
add
put
it
some
today
in?
because I love that taste.
Yeah,
And thank you for
it
reminding
adds.
me.
That was just something I saw online, and
Yep.
it added just a nice little,
Yeah.
just a little.
So, Spaetzle is a dish that children love, but not just children. If you're out for a day in the cold winter and you go skiing or snowshoeing, you can come back to this dish. You can actually prepare it ahead of time. There is a version that just uses Spaetzle and browned onions in layers, and you top it off with your favorite cheese, whether that's a cheddar or provolone or a Gruyere cheese, and you put it in the oven to heat it up, and it tastes very good, has lots of carbohydrates, and goes great with a big green salad. So now we're here, ready, and have to probably turn this up a little bit to get the water to boiling.
Oh, that. We forgot to do that. So
That's not a problem.
let's move over to the schnitzel itself. Is schnitzel always pork?
No, it doesn't have to be. The schnitzel that comes from Vienna, we call it Wiener Schnitzel, is actually veal.
Oh, right.
And if it's pork chops without the bone, we call it Schnitzel Wiener out. So there's a different term for it. It can be, you have suggested to use chicken instead. If you are vegetarian, you could use a slice of celeriac. That really tastes good if you fry that. And it's a fun variation.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love celeriac. You could also use a thin piece of tofu. You could do fish, although that wouldn't really be very traditional. Then again, neither is tofu. Or you could do just a nice thick piece of eggplant, whatever you like. Anything breaded and fried is good, right? So what I've done is I've taken my pieces of pork, I put them in between plastic wrap, and I used my meat hammer here, and I just pounded them on both sides to get them pretty thin. And this is really simple. I'm just going to put it in flour, and then in egg. It's a little messy, but it's good. And then I just have, these are just regular breadcrumbs from the store. And that is going to go, I think the oil's hot enough. Yeah, it's sizzling. So I'm just going to do the same thing with all three of these. And your water looks like it's almost boiling, Karen.
Yep, so it should be ready here. So the trick is a little bit to get the dough in the Spaetzle press and then put it in the water right away. It will try to come out at the bottom. Something like this. Alright. And now, whoops, this is an OXO Spaetzle press that also allows you to do all kinds of other things. This worked out fairly well, not perfect. We're sticking together a little bit on the other side of the press. That's where the consistency of the dough is really important.
So are you happy with the way that looks, or would you do maybe a little drier?
I think I would do a little drier the next time.
Yeah. But it's still going to taste really good, and that's what's important.
Yeah. So they've come back up. They are ready to go. And about the schnitzel, what I really liked about your recipe is that you gave the temperature for the oil, because the tricky part with schnitzel can be that the breading sticks to the pan and not to the meat. And if it sticks to the meat is juicy and tender, and it's really nice dinner.
And really nice flavor. It stays really moist and really delicious.
So when we had the test run, the Spaetzle were a little bit bigger in the end.
Yeah.
And so...
But it's really more important what it tastes like, right?
Yeah, well, I think it's part of it too, so we'll put that on the plate later.
Yeah. We'll grab a plate here. Drain some of the fat off this guy, put that there, and then we've got some sauce. And that, my friends, sizzling loud. Sunday, Oh, we have some nice wines for this dinner too. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, I can briefly talk about it. Wiener, that's a typical grape in Austria, and dry wine, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of acidity, a little crunchy. There are some herbs in it, so this is a really nice combination with the main course. So I think we are all set.
I think we're all set. That looks like a really delicious dinner. We'll see you over the weekend for early bird, or call us or email us if you don't want to come into the store. Don't forget Christmas shopping early, and we will see you next week. Mike will be here with
Bakewell tart.
Bakewell tart. Thank you. Thank you.